All right, so welcome to our Sixth Circuit Governor's Candidates Question and Answer session this afternoon. This is being recorded, so if you are with us live, welcome. If you are watching this on YouTube, thank you for taking the time to watch it. We also are being joined by the current Sixth Governor, Crystal Yaldu, from Thomas Cooley School of Law out in Michigan. With us today, we have two candidates for governor. The first, John Weber. The second, Kimberly Canals. And I apologize if I pronounce that incorrectly. So the way this is going to go, we're limited to 1 hour, depending on what we have for questions and where the discussion goes. The candidate order is going to be random as far as questions. We're going to have 2-minute introductions for the candidates. And you're welcome to certainly talk about whatever you like and feel is relevant during that time. After which, we'll have a series of questions where each candidate will have 1 minute to answer that question. If a candidate is mentioned in another candidate's response, that mentioned candidate will have up to 30 seconds to respond. I will be moderating this discussion and will only be interjecting when necessary. After we're finished with the questions, each candidate will have 1 minute to issue a closing statement, and afterwards we will be finished. If anyone joins us and would like to ask a question, there is a Q&A button on the side of your panel where you're welcome to ask questions of the candidate, and we'll get some responses. So, without further ado, I will turn this over to John, and John, you may begin your 2-minute introduction.
Like you said, my name is John Weber. I am a 1L at the University of Louisville Brandeis School of Law. I'm from Louisville, went to U of L undergrad, and after that did Teach for America before coming to law school. The reason that I'm applying, I'm in SBA right now. I'm a section representative, and in speaking with our administration, we want to be more involved. They have taken steps toward ABA participation, and that's something that we want to continue. And this is a good way, both for our school to be represented, but also a position that I think that I can do well in. I have experience through college primarily working with a national organization, working with a regional organization like this. My experience was with the College Democrats of America, where I was a Southern Regional Director, and I worked specifically with schools, with administrations in leadership at those schools to try to get people involved, to find out what it was that was preventing them from being involved historically, and to getting their opinion and feedback to make an organization run for them, one that has considerable resources, one that is big, but that is not necessarily present, certainly not on campus, and so developing a digital media presence with those chapters. So it's something that I've done. It's something that I enjoyed, and I think I can bring that experience and the growing pains that I had, but also the experiences and the strengths that I had and the successes during that time.
Thank you. And now for her 2-minute introduction, Kimberly Canals.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kimberly Canals. Please excuse my voice. I'm getting over a horrible cold. I am coming to you as a 1L governor, hopefully, from the Thomas M. Cooley Law School, focused down in Florida on our Florida campus. What I think I bring to this platform here is generally that I want to unite the schools throughout the entire district, the 6th district. I want to bring in some diversity, I want to work on membership, and I want to showcase leadership. I do come into law school from a previous career. I worked 13 years with child welfare. Doing that, I was able to host international training applications, both digitally as well as live. I was able to build a cabinet to work underneath me to help me get as far as I can, and I think that's something that I will definitely have to do here, and I look forward to doing here. Since starting law school just 1 year ago, I am currently serving my 2nd term, interning with the 2nd District Court of Appeals here in Florida. I am a President Governor of the Florida Bar Young Lawyers Division, Law Student Division. So I've done something extremely similar to this. Also the president of Phi Delta Phi, which is our International Legal Honor Society, president of the Native American Law Student Association. I'm the parliamentarian of our SBA. Work as a graduate assistant here at the school, helping those coming behind me learn a little bit of the tricks of the trade, how to get some great grades in school. I work as a graduation marshal, so we basically run graduation. I've been entrusted with that. I am also an ambassador for our school, so anyone who comes to campus or needs a speaker for our campus and for Cooley itself, I am the one that they put out there. Also an executive board member and a magistrate for our grade appeals board. And finally, I am a member, pupil member of the Bruce R. Jacob Criminal Appellate Inn of Court. While I understand that that sounds like a lot, I have already gone to all of my leadership potentials in those organizations, and they are ready to take over for me should I get this position.
Thank you. So now we'll move to the question and answer part of our session. And the first question for a 1-minute response will be to you, Ms. Canals. What has your experience been with the ABA thus far?
Thus far, I've worked for 1 year as the parliamentarian, so I've worked side by side with the rest of our executive committee and our executive board. We have worked on membership, which has been our biggest push here. So we've gone out to our classrooms, we've gone out just in the lobbies, anywhere that we can get to students and explain to them what our ABA or SBA stands for, what we can do for them, how we can help them, and try and get them in. Since my time of being on the SBA, we've actually doubled in size here in our Tampa campus, so I'm very proud of that.
Thank you. Same question to you, Mr. Weber. What has your experience been with the ABA?
My experience with the ABA is more through our local chapter with the SBA. Like I said, the president and ABA representative have taken great strides in becoming more involved. So we have done that in trying to recruit new members and get our numbers up that way. But as far as going to the conferences and things, I haven't personally done that. But I've spoken with those that have, and it's something that we would like to continue doing.
Thank you. So our next question is, how can the Law Student Division have a stronger presence in law schools? And Mr. Weber, I will present that question to you first.
I think the number one thing that I would bring to it is that I want to get opinions, that I want to talk to the SBA presidents and talk to the law students that can answer that question uniquely on each campus. It's going to be different, and I think that's crucial. That's, again, going back to my experience with a national organization. Everyone has different interests and different needs, and it's important for the organization to meet those rather than just trying to impose what they feel to be the best. That being said, I think that just providing information, the ABA has a tremendous amount of resources that I hope that we could use to benefit individual campuses.
Thank you. And Ms. Canals?
Thank you. One of the things that I look forward to doing is to traveling to as many of the schools as I possibly can to personally help recruit and to put out the information that ABA has. Also to get the input from those schools to see what they need and how I can help them and how our board can help them, how the ABA nationally can help them, and then hopefully get back with them, of course, in a short amount of time and respond so they see that we are not only listening, we're responding and helping them.
Thank you. Our next question, we've talked a little bit about providing things for students. So first to you, Ms. Canals, are there any ideas that you have for improving membership benefits for law students?
I'm sorry, my camera froze up. Could you repeat the question?
Sure. Are there any ideas that you have for improving member benefits for law students?
Thank you. One of the things that I look forward to doing is, one, we have to grow our student population. Once we have our population built up, then I think it's going to be through leadership at each school, being able to bring those opinions to the ABA, hopefully through myself, into our larger organization to be able to say, here's what we need, and get it back to them. I think one of the biggest things that students need and tend to reach out for are ways to meet students from other schools, from other campuses, ways to get out there and show that they are self-motivated, and ways to get in there and show that they want to intern and extern and get that legal experience, which I think something is ABA can do that no one else can do.
Mr. Weber, your response?
Would you mind repeating the question?
Certainly. Are there any ideas that you have for improving member benefits for law students?
Yeah, I think the first one is connecting law students, people that are looking for jobs, looking for experience, with those that are looking to hire and need law students. So that would be the first thing. Again, kind of leveraging the infrastructure that the ABA has to make those connections. Also, I was in student government in undergrad, and we got to go to the American Student Government Association conference, and that was a time when we could kind of get together with other schools that were similar to ours and share ideas, best practices, and that's something that our current administration has done as well. They were able to bring concrete ideas to our campus this year that they learned from other schools. That's crucial, and it's you know, no need to reinvent the wheel. When somebody has a great idea, let's share that so that all law students across this region and really beyond can benefit from it.
Thank you. And I believe we have a live question from our Sixth Circuit Governor, Crystal Yaldu. And if I can figure out how to unhide her, I will open that up for her to ask. Or Crystal, if you'd like to just go ahead and unmute yourself, Crystal. There you go.
Hey guys. So we have 17 law schools that are part of the Sixth Circuit. 17 law schools means that you have 17 SBA presidents and you have just as many ABA representatives. Life of a law student, you're going to have a lot that happens while in this one-year term. You know, of course, school first, right? How do you see yourself balancing what you're doing with school and with working with so many people, and how would you make the connection with the ABA reps and SBA presidents? And I'm going to pose that question first to John.
So how do I see myself connecting with ABA reps and presidents?
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, I think that it's important to develop a presence online, to getting to know them, to soliciting feedback, to getting information. And part of that, like I said, is just listening, being on the phone. Maybe it's going to the campuses themselves, really whatever it is that they need in order to develop that relationship. Now, maybe that could be a monthly call. Maybe, like I said, that's going on to campuses. But I do think that it's something that I'll have time to do and devote to really making those connections this year.
Thank you. Ms. Canals?
Thank you. I will say, from being involved in everything that I'm involved in now, I'm also a single mom of 2 little boys, and working and interning. I feel like once all of that comes off my plate, because I'm accepting this national position, I will have so much time I won't really know what to do with myself other than to reach out to SBA and ABA presidents across our 17 schools. One of the ways that I plan to do that is to go live with them on Google Chat. That's one of my favorite ways to get in touch with people. Set up times that work for them, if it's monthly or bi-weekly, however much they need me, in order to be able to keep that connection. Like I said before, I do plan to travel to each of the states and hopefully have lieutenant governors in each of the states in order to also assist me in doing that. I will say that having two little boys, I am very, very blessed that I have a huge support system here. So they will not be an issue. I hate to ever say that my children would be an issue, but they will not get in the way of me doing what I do. This is what I've done for 13 plus years in my prior experience as well as my current law experience.
Thank you. And before we get to our next question, I know that we've had a few live viewers join us since the beginning. If you'd like to ask a question of these candidates, there should be a Q&A button on the sidebar of your panel. Feel free to utilize that to submit questions, and we will try to get to as many of those as we can. So our next question gets to a little more substantive topic as to law students. Currently, the ABA prohibits students from receiving both pay and school credit for externships. Ms. Canals, I will pose this first question to you. What is your position on that ban, and how do you feel it's important, or where do you feel it ranks in importance to law students?
I'm a bit torn on, honestly, on my position with that one. As you know, I am currently interning, and I've been interning for not any credit whatsoever for school, nor any pay whatsoever. I think that you get a great amount of experience just by doing the job, and you should be thankful for that. However, I also understand the monetary, and of course, the school credit would be great. So I think my answer would have to take a pause and a break until I spoke to further ABA representatives and SBA representatives from each of the schools that I'm going to represent and see what their feelings truly are. I would not want to base it just on myself and how I see the position.
Thank you. Mr. Weber, same question regarding the pay credit ban that the ABA currently has in place.
Yeah, I think that it is something that's really important. It's something that's come up. In fact, in our last SBA meeting, somebody said we've got students that are currently in these positions that are working very, very hard, and unfortunately, it's something that they're not sure that they even want to continue because it does present some issues. Law school's expensive, so right now we've got a system where students have to either choose between getting practical skills, practical work experience, and paying the bills. And that's one that I certainly understand, and it's only going to continue in that direction. So I think that there's a way, and again, as a representative of this region, it'd be important to solicit feedback and see what chapters think, but ultimately we need to represent what's in the best interest for our students.
Thank you. Similar vein, but slightly different topic, the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, for those who don't know, is a program that allows graduates to receive full forgiveness of their student debt after spending 10 years working in a qualified public service sector position. Currently, that is at risk of being defunded and discontinued. What is your position on public service loan forgiveness, and is it truly a benefit for graduates, or is it a financial burden that we simply can't sustain anymore? So, Mr. Weber, I will pose that question to you first.
This is a huge issue to me, and it comes back to my experience. I worked in AmeriCorps, or had the AmeriCorps benefits through Teach for America. I have personally benefited from similar types of, while not exactly the same, loan forgiveness programs. That was a big reason why I decided to do it and why others did. So it helps you to really recruit strong candidates for these jobs. Two, you've got here at Brandeis, we have a public service requirement where we really try to instill the importance and those values in our students, and I think it's crucial. So I think that we should be taking every step that we can to incentivize people to do that. Because of that, I really value public service, and I know that some of my classmates do as well. The only problem is, again, it comes back to, is it going to be a financially viable decision? And I hate to have law students just have to only think about the bottom line rather than what they want to do, and limiting, again, the great candidates from going into public service because they've got to pay those bills.
Thank you. And Ms. Canals, same question to you regarding the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program.
Thank you. I believe that is a huge program that we definitely need to push forward with, to do anything we can do to keep it in place. I agree that we absolutely need to give our best candidates and our best representatives coming out of these law schools the chance to go in and do the work of the public service positions that are out there. And having lived on a public service position salary, I know how hard it can be. I can't imagine now coming out of law school with the debt involved and working on that type of salary, which is very similar to what a starting attorney would be in those same positions. So I would definitely push forward to keep that as feasible as possible.
Thank you. And before I get to my last question, I do want to let our audience members know if you have any questions you'd like for the candidates to answer. Now is the last chance for you to get those in before we move on to closing statements. So my last question, and Ms. Canals, I'll pose this to you first. Our Law Student Division Board of Governors is 23 members. What type of leader would you be on a board of 23 members?
I think that would change project to project. I believe there's some projects that I may come into that I know that I have the skills and the leadership to be the chief, if you will, and hopefully have the Indians follow, and there's others that I will not be, and I'll have different motivations, different things that I am good at that may not be exactly what that project calls for, and I am perfectly happy taking a back seat, being more of a cabinet member, supporting, pushing, and encouraging and doing the hard brunt work without being the face person for that. That's currently what I am doing with the Florida Bar Young Lawyers Division, Law Student Division. There's projects that we take on where I know that I'm the right person and I step up and I take the limelight and I take all the heat that comes with that limelight. And there's others that I'm not the one that's the correct position for, and I step myself back, and I don't have a problem with that.
Thank you. Mr. Weber, same question to you. If you're elected, you'll be on a board of 23 members. What type of leader will you be on that board?
Again, this is a place where I feel very comfortable. It's something that my experience will have prepared me for. I've been able to, through student government, work, for example, sit in on a board of trustees meeting with prominent local leaders, with the university president, other people along those lines, and be the only person in there fighting for what the students really want and student interests. It's something, again, that I'm experienced in and have no problem doing. In my church, I was on the pastor search committee representing people my age, and if I didn't say it, nobody would. So kind of stepping up and not being intimidated or afraid, I think is big. Now, I would be an active leader. I would focus on being efficient with our resources through tough economic tough budgetary times, and again, just whatever it is, I keep saying it, but it's so true, talking and seeing what campus leaders need and being that voice. I have absolutely no problem. In fact, I'm very comfortable in taking a lot of different opinions, putting them together, and then holding our own in a meeting, no matter how many people are in that room.
Thank you. Well, thank you both for answering the questions. I don't see any submitted from our audience members, so we will move to our... Oh, actually, it looks like we do have a question from Governor Yaldu. Governor, if you'd like to hop in and ask a final question before we move to closings, please feel free to do that.
Can you hear me now? As a circuit, we send out a lot of mailings through our listserv, and some of us also go on to social media and use that. I'm not sure if you guys do receive the emails that I send. That leads to my next part of this, which is how are you with A, with social media, and B, with meeting deadlines? And I will pose that first to Ms. Kim.
Thank you, Crystal. I have had experience with all of my organizations of having to meet deadlines. Speaking of deadlines, when a judge gives you one, oh, you meet it. And I've definitely learned that, and ways to balance life and law and everything else that's going on. I live by my calendar in my iPhone. That also pops up on my computer, probably like everyone else. And I believe that I will still be able to do that. This is not going to be a challenge for me. This is really nothing new. It's just that I'm going to be focused on a different set of goals and set of priorities that I have to work on. Instead of 12 of them, it's just going to be one fantastic one. So thank you for that question.
And Mr. Weber, same question to you.
Could you rephrase your question or just say it one more time, please?
So one of the things that we do is we send out a lot of information, right? With that comes certain initiatives, things that we're pushing out so that people are aware, because as you know, or I hope you do, the Sixth Circuit is comprised of 3 states and 17 law schools. So there's a lot of people that we're trying to get all of this information out to, right? So my question is using social media as an example and using our email as an example. How are you with deadlines? Basically, is what it comes down to with meeting deadlines.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was more social media or more deadlines. Either way, I don't think that you get into law school without being able to meet deadlines. That's all the applications and things, and so I know that both of us would be able to do that well. As far as social media goes, it's again it goes back to experience. I've in my position as a statewide and regional director, I have experience in trying to find those ways to communicate with people when you are not present all the time, and so I've done it. I've tried to find innovative ways, not just to send out announcements and get information. While that's very valuable, you got to do that. Also, trying to find ways to maybe stimulate discussion or giving them some reason to click on it, incentivize that in some way. So yeah, it's crucial, especially when you're dealing with 17 law schools across 3 states. Like you said, I mean, it's an organization like this could not operate without it.
Thank you, and thank you, Governor, for posing some great questions to our candidates. We've, I think, reached the end of our Q&A session, so we will move on to our closing statements. Each candidate will have 1 minute. And before we leave, I do want to remind our viewers that this is going to be uploaded to the ABA Law Student Division YouTube page, so if you came in late, you only saw part of it, this will be up pretty quickly after we conclude, so you can certainly feel free to go back and see the portions that you missed, or maybe you just enjoyed us so much you want to watch it all again. So at this time, we will move to closing statements, and we will begin with Ms. Canals. You have 1 minute.
Thank you very much. Again, my name is Kim Canals from Thomas M. Cooley Law School. I hope to bring to the Sixth Circuit not only my leadership abilities, my ability to push membership, my ability to get people involved, and to unite hopefully all 17 schools across the 3 states into one big family that is under the ABA. I look forward to finding my lieutenant governors, hopefully one in each state, and I look forward to being able to devote all of my time and all of my effort to this position. As I said earlier, I am involved in a number of positions on campus. However, I have already lined up my successors that will take over my positions here on campus, to the ones that I am ready and willing to let go of in order to take on this bigger and better, more exciting position that has come my way. So thank you very much for your time today. I appreciate all the questions. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all, and I hope to see you all again shortly.
Thank you, Ms. Canals. And Mr. Weber, you have 1 minute for your closing statement.
Okay, well, yeah, I just thank you for moderating this, putting it on, again, in a way where people can access it. It is important and I think my number one thing would be to increase involvement. You know, I'm glad this will be on YouTube, but we've got to drive more traffic to YouTube. The viewership is low, and I get that it's hard, but that's an issue. We can sit here and talk about our ideas all day, but if it doesn't eventually get to the campuses, then what are we doing? So, again, I go back to my experience. I've operated a state organization. I've operated a regional organization. This is something that's kind of in my wheelhouse that I enjoy and that I'm good at. Again, because it's nothing. I'm not the most brilliant person in the world, but I can communicate with people on their campuses that really know what it is that they would like to see from us, and then implement those opinions that I solicit. Again, I also had the opportunity in not just College Democrats, but in student government to share best practices, to visit with other law students, to network, and that thing it's so easy. It's just a matter of connecting people, getting ideas, and sending those out. So I hope that you'll vote for me because I'll represent. Oh, time.
Sorry.
No problem.
We need to cut you off there, but we do gotta stay within the guidelines.
No problem.
Oops, sorry, I muted myself. Thank you both very much. Governor Yaldu, thank you so much, and Austin behind the scenes. And our viewers who came to watch this live or are watching this in the future on YouTube, thank you for joining us, and please remember to vote. See you guys later.
Thanks.